Today, May, May 4th, Tuesday, 9:49 a.m. I'm in a meditation or a meditative state at this point. And I was saying before I turned on this recording that I felt like I was floating outside of my body or my house or my home. And that I was looking for or trying to get back into myself. And in the process of doing that, it can feel scary because there's a state of being that carries the mind without solidification or self-actualization, which, not having self-actualization, sturdy beliefs and principles built in, there's no anchoring into the body, into the physical, which means that a person can be whisked away by an instant just by belief system. And I'm here in a space of wanting to accept the balance that keeps me inside of myself and being able to operate within my vehicle, slowing down time to experience the process of growth instead of processing the growth. And there's a difference between the two. When we process growth, we don't give ourselves a chance to experience the process. The processing only allows us to see the information and make it make sense. And that's easy, especially if you are so used to doing things from the mind space. It's so easy to solve problems because in the mind, anything and everything becomes a problem so that the mind can feel useful. So when a person is operating directly from the mind space in this sense, there's nothing but problems and scrambling of the mind just to come up with solutions that may not even make sense because the problem doesn't even make sense in the first place. To create problems means that you have to make what makes sense not make sense anymore. So I am in this space of really coming back into myself, truly self-actualized, and experiencing my world from the point of view of emotion and feeling and moving and doing and accepting what is, giving my mind a rest and dealing with whatever problems are present within my life. Just looking at those problems and knowing that there's a lesson there. Without judgment, there's a lesson there. So to collect the jewels, it's like collecting jewels from the actual problem within itself and letting everything else disappear. And what is left is the true lesson of whatever that problem is. And you're left with a jewel that takes you so far. Takes you so far into a life that reminds you that everything that you've been through, every bad decision, every struggle point, it wasn't experienced in vain. That there is some sort of redemption that is experienced once there's a letting go and a surrendering to the actual lesson within itself. And everything doesn't have to be a lesson. That's another lesson. Everything is not a lesson. Sometimes it's just an experience. So we don't have to go and repeat lessons over and over again just because, again, we're going in that mind space and we're saying, hey, what's the problem? What can I learn? So the balance between the two and really saying, well, how do I feel today? Instead of what can I learn? How do I feel? What do I want to do? What do I want to create? What do I want to express today? What do I want to express? And doing that in a way to where it continues the journey. It creates the reality at the same time. And it's a desired reality instead. Because it is like a journey of truly getting to know thyself and being honest about it. And when you're honest about it, no matter what, it always feels good. Because sometimes uncomfortable feels good. It's just like I feel like I'm making progress because I'm actually proud of myself for doing something or experiencing something that made me really, really uncomfortable. I know that I'm able to get through thresholds that seem to have some kind of resistance. And I know the difference between needing to let go versus continuing on into the resistance field. And this is a resonance thing. This is all about resonance. And what really allows us to navigate through following true resonance is really knowing what it is that we want. So when we're wandering about in this life, in this reality, and we don't know what we want, we get pulled into things by resonance. But is it something that you wanted? Although it's on the same level of resonance, is it something that you're aligned with? Or do you have a goal? And do you see the confirmations within yourself that tells you that you are on the right track because you feel it? You feel it. You feel that you are. Operating in a space of resonance is not really confusing. It only gets confusing when there is no trust for it, when there is no belief. I always say belief is something that is a gift, that we are able to have beliefs. You know, people get into knowledge and information and wisdom and so on, and they say, well, the goal is to be in a state of knowing. And I agree with that on certain levels. There are certain things that we know about ourselves that no one else can really change or tell us anything else about those things. We know them. But there are certain parts of life and the experience that need belief. Because there's this essence within us that needs to believe in something greater than ourselves, at least from my perspective. Even if it is ourselves, what is that greater part of our being that seems unknown, seems like a mystery? And that's the thing. It's like allowing mystery to still be what it is, even in a space of knowing, an all intelligent space. You know, it's the mysteries that keep us going. So belief is not something that is, to be tossed over to the side because we are operating in spaces of knowing. So in this moment, as I sit here and meditate, I'm really allowing myself to feel all of it, all of the experience, all of the true integrations of mind, body, soul. What does that feel like? And ask yourself this question: what does mind feel like? What does body feel like? What does my soul feel like? Because it's funny because it's kind of like a paradox with asking the mind, hey, what does this feel like? Because the mind is not known to be a feeling space. It's a processing space. But there is a connection because the emotions that are felt, they have to be translated. They have to be translated. So, translating the emotion and feeling for that space is important. And knowing that your mind is in alignment with how you truly feel. So that's something that I'm going to allow myself to feel today. Just in those 3 parts: mind, body, soul. And operating in true resonance in its entirety to feel like I am back on track and on my path, on my desired path, and to embrace what is to come from all of it. Also paying attention to what makes you feel uncomfortable. We talk about triggers all of the time. When we're talking about spaces of healing and so on, we have to deal with these triggers. Triggers are only attached to beliefs that you don't or no longer believe anymore. And that's why they feel like triggers, because there's something in you that says this is not true or this is not natural. So why are you still bothered by it? Why does it still make you feel a certain kind of way that brings you out of an alignment of mistrust? It brings you into a space of mistrust, fear, low confidence. Why are we still allowing these old beliefs to take over in navigation? So they're only indicators on what is needed to shift and change. So if you hear a trigger, see a trigger, feel a trigger of some sort, just stop and just allow it to be what it is. And just look at it or sense it and feel it and just say, I don't believe this anymore. And I know this to not be true. So what I'm going to do in this moment is I am going to swap it out. I'm going to change this belief right now in real time as this is happening. And the reality will eventually change. But being anchored in the body actually allows the process to feel in sequence instead of all at one time, where it feels like there's no end or beginning and you don't know where you are, what you're doing. There has to be an end goal, even if that's a new beginning. So I just wanted to just share this voice memo, note to self. And we're all works in progress. There's no reason to take life so seriously, although life is a serious matter. So there we have it. Enjoy every single part of the journey and know that it's leading up to and into your true self.